and you ask them questions and allow them to talk more and you to talk less, you'll start picking up on those cues and be able to kind of call out those things that maybe you have something in common with them, or you have something that you can offer them that's of value, with expecting nothing in return necessarily. So I think that for me is very much quality over quantity. I'm not like, can I get rid of this full pack of 500 business cards in this room?
Yeah.
It's like, can I make 5 meaningful connections? I can make someone laugh. I can create a conversation that's memorable, that they're going to walk away and actually be like, oh, I need to connect with her. Like, that was such a great conversation. But before we can even get to what you do in the room, it's what you do on the front end that is actually the most powerful. So
welcome to Life Changing Money, a podcast all about one of the most taboo topics in the world, money. I'm your host, Barbara Schreihans, and we're going behind the scenes on business owners' journeys to money, success, and wealth. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Life Changing Money. I am so excited to have Haley Westfall here. Hello.
Hello. I'm so excited to see you.
I love when Instagram makes people friends in real life.
This is literally my favorite hobby. I feel like I'm going to find all my new best friends on the internet. Well, and it's working.
It's like you can vet them a little bit.
For sure.
Like a dating app or something,
exactly.
But even more so because you see what they actually like and how they actually talk and look.
Right. And then we can just meet for dinner and just be like, I'm borderline homeless in gym clothes. Will you love me still?
Yes.
Immediately, yes.
Yes, if you're my people. I call it hobo chic.
I love it.
Is my I want to be bumming around, but maybe with some jewelry on. I don't know.
Perfect. It's an elevated hobo chic.
Yeah.
For sure.
So we met years ago.
Yeah.
When you wanted us to speak at one of your events, and you're a professional community builder.
Yeah. I seeked you out on the internet. I had, ironically enough, a guy who is a childhood friend of mine, Dan the Roofing Man.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Dan. We've known each other since first grade. And we were at Lifetime where, it's a gym where honestly so many great
it's a hangout really
are made, right? It's the best networking with a side of sweat. If you're the people who are actually exercising. But we were chatting one day and I was like, hey, I really need a really good tax strategist to come and speak to my community. And he's immediately, I have your person. And so he's like, you have to reach out. You have to get a hold of her. And I did. And here we are. That was over 3.5 years ago.
Yeah. He's one of our OG clients. He's been a client of ours for 5 years. And then we just grew our friendship. And whenever we have events, we're just there for each other. So I love that. Mm-hmm. But what made you get into being a community builder?
It's really interesting. So for context, I spent 20 years in corporate leadership.
Wow.
Before becoming an entrepreneur. And it's one of those things where you kind of fell into something. I was in healthcare administration for context. So I kind of fell into it. I'm a firstborn daughter, self-proclaimed high achiever, where I was I want a big girl job, while all my friends were working at Abercrombie and Fitch and In-N-Out Burger. And so I got into a corporate landscape really young and just grew fast. So I never had the passion for healthcare per se. It's just where I landed. And I believe firmly if that was not pulled out from underneath me, I would still be there today. So I was laid off back in, when would that have been, 2020. And there was a bunch of us from the C-suite that were laid off at the same time, positions eliminated. And I, not to be dramatic, was my world was rocked.
Yeah.
Because I had never even been written up, let alone let go from a job. Then we get a little prideful where we're they're not going to do this to me.
Yeah.
I have a master's degree and I have all this experience, got a new job within a couple of weeks. And about 6 months later, the same thing happened again.
Oh, shit.
Highest paid employee in my position was eliminated. And it was really a pivotal time in my life where I'm what am I supposed to be doing? And so as all psychopaths do, I'm I'm going to start something
You mean
new.
Entrepreneurs.
Yes, exactly. Same thing. I want to start something from scratch. So became a business owner overnight. One friend reached out and said, hey, I know you lost your job. You're really creative. You're good with words, all these things. Would you help me with my social media?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I can do that. You go from making a lot of money to no money real quick. You get scrappy. And so I was like, I'll figure it out. And I proceeded to build my book of business strictly from word of mouth referrals over the next 3 years.
And this was social media management?
So I had social media management. I did strategy. So one-on-one group containers, things like that. And it was built off of a network that I had been unknowingly cultivating my entire life. It was something that I never knew I needed until I needed it. And when I was able to lean into that and build something from scratch, I was just flabbergasted. Like, wow, this is really kind of crazy. And over the course of that time, Collab Culture was born, which is the community we were talking about that you came and spoke to. And it really allowed me to get this different perspective on community. And yes, it's warm and friendly and right, all the good feelings, but it's actually an incredibly tactically powerful tool to amplify your business overnight. And built that community. And then, as we do, decided, okay, the social media thing was never for me, right? It was a good fix in the meantime.
Mm-hmm.
And so I burnt the whole thing to the ground and built the table from scratch. So that was about 2 years ago now. Burned that business down, built the table from scratch. And now that is what I do. That is the name of my brand. And it's like the best ever. But I never would have been here.
Yes.
Right? If that decision wasn't made on my behalf. So it's kind of wild.
So when you said you were like unknowingly building this community, probably when you still had your W-2 job.
Yeah.
So what did that mean for you at that time? Just like having friends
I think
that were entrepreneurs, or?
It's not even just that. It's just the willingness to get to know people on a deeper level. And so I think oftentimes we look at, this one friend, or maybe it's your significant other, to be the solution to all of your life's problems, right? You have to be the Swiss Army knife, when in actuality, that's really unfair to both parties. So I got really good at being like, Barb's my friend who's going to be like the challenger friend. She's not afraid to ask the hard questions. She's going to cheer me on when I need it, but she's going to hold me accountable when I need it too. And maybe I have another friend who's like the comforter friend, who it doesn't matter what it is or if I was wrong, but they're going to love me through it and hold my hand, right? And whatever that looks like. And so I got really good at looking at the different areas of my life, whether it was with my marriage or with parenting or with work or whatever that looked like. So when that transition happened, I already kind of had these people in buckets, if you will, of understanding like, who are my friends who own businesses and I actually know what they do because I took the time to get to know them on a deeper level instead of the fellow soccer mom or the fellow, parent from the school pickup line. And once that started to get rolling, it was wild to watch because it was the one person who would tell the one person, and then they would tell the next person. And it was just this domino effect that took place. But it all really stemmed back to taking the time and having the patience to get to know people on a deeper level first before needing or asking them for something.
And what does that look like for you?
I was like, we're going to become best friends real quick. So I actually just hosted a 2-day conference last month, and Madison, who you know too, Madison Coper and her husband were our MCs. And one of the first questions she asked people at the very beginning was, who in this room is Haley's bestie? And it was hilarious because pretty much the entire room raised their hand.
Yeah.
And I just carry that energy with every relationship that I encounter, is that I'm very giving first, very servant led, not in a way that is going to allow people to take advantage of me, but in a heart posture of like, how can I help? And how can I provide value to you? Because I believe tenfold that it will come back in, copious amounts down the road whenever it's meant to be that way. So when I go to, whether it's live events or whether it's meeting people through other connections, is just taking the time to ask questions that are a little different than they're used to being asked.
Yeah, not like, how are you?
Or, so what do you do? That's what everybody asks. When you go to an event, I guarantee you meet 12 people, 10 of them asked you, so what do you do as the first question?
We were actually at an event last night and the leader was like, say your name and what you do. So yes, that question was asked, but also I think the really important one is how you answer that.
Yeah.
Because people are going around like, hi, I'm so-and-so and I do this. Hi, I'm so-and-so and I do this. And I said, hi, I'm Barbara and I save people money in taxes. And everyone's like, oh,
right.
cool way to say that. Like
Yeah.
people stop me after and they're like, I need to stop saying I'm a real estate agent. And it's like, yes, I help single moms get into their first house. Like that sounds so much better.
Yeah.
Even if it is the what do you do question.
For sure.
I think it's like, how do you help people?
Yeah.
Really is how.
And I think it's being an active listener, because you're going to pick up on those cues from people. When you ask them questions and allow them to talk more and you to talk less, you'll start picking up on those cues and be able to kind of call out those things that maybe you have something in common with them, or you have something that you can offer them that's of value, with expecting nothing in return necessarily. So I think that for me is very much quality over quantity. I'm not like, can I get rid of this full pack of 500 business cards in this room?
Yeah.
It's like, can I make 5 meaningful connections? I can make someone laugh. I can create a conversation that's memorable, that they're going to walk away and actually be like, oh, I need to connect with her. Like that was such a great conversation. So I think that is what is most potent as far as my ability to create the connections that I have in honestly such a short period of time.
Yeah. I want to dive a little deeper into, because I think this is a common misconception that probably everyone does, but we all go to these events. We all go to the big events, the smaller events, like, and it's so amazing. We always get a ton of value. But like, what can people write down listening to this podcast and be like, what can I do differently networking at the next event? So I heard you say, maybe think of 5 connections rather than like, you're probably looking at a room of 200 people and you're like, where do I even start?
Right.
And you're not going to meet the 200 people. Like even the event last night, 2 of the women there were at my event last year. They had never met. And I was like, but you were both at Minted. Like, what do you mean you didn't meet? But it's because you can't meet everyone. So maybe, do you like identify the 5 people beforehand? Do you wait till you get there? You're just
so many things.
Yeah.
I have an entire process. You guys are going to think I'm a literal psychopath.
No, they're going to write this down and love it.
You're going to write this down, and I promise it's going to be an absolute game changer. But before we can even get to what you do in the room, it's what you do on the front end that is actually the most powerful. So identifying a room, understanding who is in the room, but what your intent is going into the room. So I'm going to actually use Minted from last year as an example, and I know I shared this with you. So for me, I am a very like creative, fun, playful. I want events that are really about energy and doing all these things. So to me, just on paper, without even knowing that it's yours, if we just say it's a money event, that is not going to be something I'm drawn to attending just right off the bat.
Right.
But I knew this is really a priority for me in this season of life and business, that I really want to get serious about. I'm an incredibly intelligent individual, and I should feel stronger and more confident in being able to speak to my financial position, portfolio, all of these things. So I knew for me that was something on my list that I really wanted to challenge myself to find a room that was aligned. And then when you were hosting it, I was like, thank you. Stars have aligned. This is what I need, because it was the perfect mix of both, right? So I'm taking the time to use discernment to even understand if it's a room that I want to be in the first place. Then being a psychopath as I am.
No, entrepreneur.
Keeping an eye on the hosts or the events stories leading up to the event to see who is tagging them, who is saying that they're going to be at the event.
Ooh, smart.
Connecting with them on social, even if you're not maybe sending them a message right off the bat, or maybe you are like, hey, I saw that you're also going to Minted. I'm super excited. I've never been there. Did you go last year? It doesn't have to be crazy. You're not hard pitching them in the DMs, but it allows you to kind of gauge on the vibe of who's going to be there. I happen to know a lot of people that were already going, which was fun. And then there were a lot of cool people that I met that I hadn't met before. So understanding what it is that you're looking for. Is it clients? Is it leads? Is it peers? Is it mentors? What is it that you're needing right now?
The speakers, maybe?
The speakers. I really have a passionate opinion around, I need to feel personally connected to the host. So what they're about, the energy they attract, the kind of people that they're calling into this room, I think says a lot about what the experience is going to be like. So those are things that I look for on the front end before I'm even getting into the room.
I'm listening to you and I'm already like, look, I've said yes to way too many events without thinking like this.
This is a skill that you have to practice literally every single time something comes across your desk, where I am obsessed with in-person experiences. So it's very hard for me to say no. But also there's only so much energy that we have to give.
Yes.
And so it's not necessarily from like a self-serving perspective, but it's truly from an alignment in this exact season of business and really being willing to take the time to do that, right? To figure out who it is that's going to be there. Then once you know that, then you can come up with that plan of kind of what it is that you're talking about. Maybe when you're seeing people tag on the front end of the event and you see someone and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to meet this person. Like they are on my list. And maybe you don't have that right away. And so giving yourself a challenge that is a stretch for you personally, if it's your first in-person event, maybe it's making one connection, sitting next to someone new at lunch that you have never met before, or changing seats halfway through and moving to a different table after lunch. Maybe that's the challenge for you and that's okay. For someone who's more innately extroverted like me, my challenge is going to be a little bit more robust, but it doesn't mean that that's going to be for everybody. So figuring out what that looks like. And I always tell people just to find a way to take the conversation beyond the room. So if I met you and you were like, hey, I'm really looking to get more plugged in to events in Arizona during the time that I'm here. I'm not here all the time, but I really want to find rooms that are in this kind of description, whatever it is that you're looking for. I am going to be really present in the conversation and tell you, hey, I'm going to put this in a note in my phone really quick. And when I get back to the office next week, I'm going to send you a list of some stuff that's coming up that I'm going to, or some places to get plugged in for things that are going on so that I can carry that conversation beyond the room. We're not withholding information with them. You're being present where your feet are and then allowing the conversation to cascade beyond the room so you can continue to nurture that relationship with them.
I love that. What about different questions other than how are you and what do you do?
I have an entire mental Rolodex of things that I like to do. Depends on the room, depends if it's co-ed, depends if it's only women. It depends kind of the vibe. Is it a more super casual event? Is it kind of a more bougie event? Like there's so many different things that you can take into consideration. I always love to compliment what someone is wearing.
That's one of my favorite things to start a conversation.
Always. And I will distinctly remember certain people that I've met at live events based on the outfit they were wearing at that time. So I always love to compliment what
which is
wearing.
Just a good point. Sorry, side note of like when you're going to events to really think about what you're going to wear as well, which sounds like such a funny thing to worry about or think about. But if you can wear something that someone can go up to you and start a conversation with you about, or the shoes you wore, like the green outfit you wore on stage, like those are memorable things. That's how people will remember you later. And it's such a great conversation starter. So like, I think you use Schreihans as well, but like, that is why I use them, because once I realized the value of like what you're wearing in entrepreneurship and networking events, I was like, oh, no brainer. Like, love it.
And that's something so easy, right? Or asking somebody if it's, an event where people are coming in from out of town, asking them where they came in from, if they've ever been, where you are before, asking them something that they're excited about right now. You don't have to get into like the deep crevices of their trauma right off the bat when you're meeting someone. The questions don't have to be that deep, but I think just asking something that is easy for them to answer. It's easy to create kind of that organic flow of a conversation starting, and then you'll eventually find out what they do. Like that's just going to happen. But I think there's so many different things that you can ask people, really just dependent on what it is that you feel comfortable about too. But the complimenting or commenting on something that they're wearing is so easy.
Yes.
And it's always like makes people feel good. Like when you say it, you will literally see their face light up.
So what got you from, okay, I realize I have this community of people to I'm going to host big ass events with hundreds of people that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Truly. We were just talking about this at dinner a couple of weeks ago, where I'm like, I think people have this misconception that events are just this insane cash cow moneymaker.
They're so expensive.
We are here to tell you that could not be further from the truth. Now, there are ways that you can make money from events. Don't get me wrong, right? Sponsorships, selling something from stage. There's so many different ways that you can do that, but they are freaking expensive.
Yeah. The event itself is highly unlikely that you will make money from. So you probably should have a way to make money from the event. But I always say, like, us people that are crazy enough to throw events, we do it literally just for the people.
Yeah.
Like, we're not doing it for money. It takes up all of our time, all of our energy. And we're very similar where, like, we think of the experiences and, like, how is someone going to feel walking in? How is someone going to, like, you know, feel halfway through? What are they going to be smelling? What are they going to be seeing? What's the swag? Does the swag make sense for the activations that we're going to have? Like, there's so much that goes into it.
Yeah.
And it's literally just for the people. So know that we love you.
We literally love you so much. I, again, just really thrive on, like, in-person energy.
Yeah.
So for me, that is just so, like, soul giving. And I know other people that may be listening are like, wow, that sounds very energetically draining.
It's not me.
Right.
Even though I host events.
Right.
I just, around a lot of people, drains my energy.
Yeah.
One-on-one, love it.
Yeah.
All day.
And I think for me with the in-person stuff, starting with doing collab culture and really seeing the power of, like, that hyper local connection where we were able to bring women together that are all in different seasons of life and business and really provide value for them, but also create a culture and space that is really supportive, like genuinely supportive, where we would then see them, like, doing life together in the wild. We always say, right? Like, they're out on a play date with their kids, or they're traveling with their families, or they're working on a project, or they're co-working together outside of what we're providing for them. To be able to be even just, like, a small piece of that magic is so life-giving. And so when I burned the social media business to the ground and the table was born, I knew that so much of it was going to be rooted in in-person experiences, because that is my superpower, is really bringing people together, allowing them to feel seen and valued and heard, but also being willing to bring challenging conversations to the forefront and be able to have them in a safe space where you can be challenged and you can hear the hard truth that you so desperately needed to hear in a space that still feels supportive because it's coming from a place of genuine care, like you're saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're expensive AF to run, but they are such a powerful tool for building trust and really creating this, like, full sensory experience for your clients or your peers or any potential people that are just coming into your ecosystem for the first time.
How did you mentally go from, like, W-2, highly compensated employee, like, didn't have to worry about a thing, to, like, signing really expensive event contracts that you know you have to pay no matter what, out of your own pocket?
Literally terrified. Literally terrified. This is another reason why it's so, like, at the forefront to me right now in this season of my life, because I have kind of made it over that hump of, like, okay, we're not going back. So now this is our new normal. And so what are the things that I have to take personal responsibility for that were things that were essentially taken care of, so to speak, on my behalf previously? And, you know, my husband's a W-2 employee. He always has been. And the initial period of my entrepreneurship journey was a really interesting period for us because we were relearning what that looked like, and even understanding, like, well, I am at home, but I'm not working. Right. I'm not a stay-at-home mom. I'm building a business now. I'm building 2 businesses and running a podcast and doing all of these things. And so I feel like even 5 years later, I'm just like, okay, we know all what's going on. We have all these things figured out. And I think right now, this exact season with Collab and Collab expanding, and then with the table, I've never felt more aligned with the work that I'm doing and the impact that I'm creating. And so for me, it's an easy yes. It's still scary, but I know without a shadow of a doubt, it's exactly what I'm meant to be doing. And so I think that confidence and clarity is what allows me to make those decisions, even when I'm terrified that it might not work out.
Yeah. What kind of conversations did you and your husband have to have around, like, having a stable job and now you're an entrepreneur? How did the money conversations shift?
Yeah, I remember so vividly. It was a Friday. I got that phone call from my corporate employer. And I, of course, was working from home because why the day prior when I was in the office would we have had that conversation?
Right. Yeah.
Right. So I remember so vividly getting that call. And I just remember hanging up and falling apart, like sobbing. I was a hot mess. And I remember calling my husband and I was just like word vomiting. And he was just like, it's going to be fine. And I'm like, it's not going to be fine. Right?
Yeah.
Psychopath. And he was just like, it's not for you anymore, like with such certainty. So I think that unwavering certainty honestly has grounded me so much because, you know, as we all do, probably every like day or 6 months, we're like, should we burn it all down and start over? But he is just so incredibly supportive. And so I think in even those first couple of years, it was just a lot of conversations that we had to have very openly of like, what does this look like? What needs to happen? I had previously carried like our healthcare benefits because I worked in the healthcare system. So mine were much more cost effective. So I would carry our kids and myself, and then he would carry just himself on his employer's plan. So me making even those shifts of like, okay, it doesn't make sense for us to go on Cobra. We're going to all move over to his plan, but then this is what that looks like as far as offsetting some of those expenses. And so it's honestly made us talk about money more than we ever have before because we came from this just cushy W2 life of we always had enough and we always could just do what we wanted. And the volatility of the entrepreneurship lifestyle and it just being far less predictable has really just made it at the forefront of like, there is no avoiding the conversation. It has to be had.
A lot of people listening are probably like, but how and when do they talk about it when she's running multiple businesses and they have kids and he has a job? So when are those conversations?
They're literally in every random pocket of time. I think we try to really be conscious of having them in the moment, right? I mean, now take that into consideration. I have 3 kids that are 11, 9, or almost 9, almost 6. So it's a little wild in our household. So we try to be conscious of like, not when they're going ham in the background, but just having them come up more regularly. Ironically enough, we were just talking about this with each other because some friends of mine were telling me what they do. And they literally have like a money meeting every week. Yeah. And they're like, we're not trying to make it big and scary. Like we literally sit down in our like pajamas with a glass of wine or whatever. And we're like, hey, for the next 30 minutes, this is what we're going to talk about. And they have this like structured conversation. And so it takes the anxiety or stress off of like, how is this going to go? Because you already know that it's pre-planned. And so I would like to get to something more structured, but I think for us, what has worked so far is just when it comes up, having the conversation in real time, because it's never something that I want to create any kind of like angst or animosity
avoidance,
in my marriage. Yeah. Right. It's just not worth it. Like we've been together too long and been through too much to not be able to have those conversations openly.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you mention it. I call it a monthly money date. And we'll be coming out with like what you should talk about at your monthly money date.
Perfect.
So we'll structure it for you.
It's meant to be. That's exactly what I need in my life, honestly.
How about now when you are about to be like, okay, I'm going to spend 10 grand on this one thing for an event. Is your husband involved in that conversation or is it like trust? Like you got it, babe. I know that.
Yeah, I would say it's mostly trust. I think I tell him when I'm feeling nervous, where I'm like, okay, litmus test. I'm just going to throw this out there and see what the reaction is. But the fact of the matter is, like, he's not an expert in that. Do you know what I mean? And so it goes back to the conversation previously of like, I'm not going to go to my friend who's never had a child for parenting advice. I'm not going to go to my, fill in the blank friend who's never been married for marriage advice. And so I don't want to put an unrealistic expectation on him because what if it's the wrong decision? And I don't want to create resentment there either. I'm fully able and willing to hold that responsibility. But even going into, booking for the next big 2-day event for next year, I was like, okay, what lessons did we learn this time? What should we change? What are the things that were really powerful and impactful? And what were the things that we could do without? And I wanted to like verbally process those things out loud with him because he was there for the entire process of like seeing this from behind the scenes. And I do think he appreciates that too. But
that's a really good point. I think everyone feels like, well, most people feel like they have to go to their spouse for everything. And you make a really good point of like, our spouses are not experts in everything. So that's not a fair thing to put on them. I really like that.
Yeah. I mean, we're not perfect by any means. We've been together for 20 years, married for 15. And it's just such a constant evolution of us as individuals and as a married couple of there's always going to be different seasons where one of us is going to need more from each other than the other. And so this last 6 months has been a really heavy business season for me with the launch of this event that I've never done anything of that type before. And I really had to lean on him hard in ways that I hadn't previously. And there's other seasons, last year they launched a couple new locations for his company and he was traveling a lot more than normal. And so I think having just that ebb and flow of understanding there's no such thing as 50-50 balance all the time is really, really helpful and just allows for that grace in the seasons where one needs more than the other.
So good. Something else that you do that I think is so smart is coupling up with another person's event to throw your own event.
Yeah.
And I heard this as well from a friend of mine. She owns a marketing company and she'll like buy out tables at someone else's event so that she can sell those tickets kind of like third party, like StubHub. And she like increases the price on it. And then also adds in, she can add in like a VIP day with her clients or dinners or other like community building things. And I was like, that's so smart to do. Then you don't have to pay for the event, but the people are in town for it. So do you want to tell people kind of your plan of action with that?
Yeah, I did this last year for the first time, and it really came off the cuff of a lot of people who don't live here in Arizona commenting like, hey, I have FOMO all the time. I want to come to your events, but like, I'm not there. So like, how do I get to be a part of something? And so I kind of had this idea, well, there's this huge event, Powerhouse Women, that's in town. I have so many friends that come into town for it, and it's massive. I think last year it was like 700, 800 people. And, it's an incredible event, but the ability to make intimate connections in that room is challenging. You can make them at a semi-deep level, but like only so much time is allotted, right? Yeah. There's speakers, there's different things like that. And they have different things.
So many people.
And they have different things with like the PJs and Prosecco the night before. And I think now this year, they're also doing something on Sunday. And my whole thing was like, I'm not trying to compete with the programming at all. I'm not putting something on at the same time. I'm not putting something on that's going to conflict with something that's already included. What I'm trying to do is put together the perfect like accessory that if you're already coming in, you're already investing your time and energy and money to be in the room. How can I create a space that's a little bit different, that's still cost accessible for you to be able to make connections in a more intimate container? So that's what I did last year. And it was like so perfect. It filled that pocket between morning flights coming in, but you couldn't check into your hotel till 4.
Oh, smart.
So it was like 2 to 5. That Friday night thing, I think, didn't start till 6:30. And it was like 3 miles from the venue. So it was close. You could Uber. It was perfect. And it literally sold out, I think, the first week of April for August.
Wow.
I put it out and it was like people were so excited.
My first thought when you say it though,
yeah,
is would the person throwing on the event ever have like an issue with it? Or did you pre-ask or like, how does that work? You're just like, I know I'm not conflicting with the schedule. So
I know my intent behind it. So I'm not worried about it. I mean, like in that case, I love Lindsay. I know her personally. I would have had no problem like saying something. And I think I even tagged them in a couple of the stories. Again, the intent, and I think I said this in stories plenty of times, like this is not intended to conflict with anything. You're already committed to coming at this point. So this is just one more thing. If you want it, that is accessible to you, take what you need, leave what you don't. Like no stress if it doesn't work. And it was like 40 people. So it's not like it was massive. And so we did that and it was such a hot commodity. I ended up actually doing another one Saturday night. So this was Friday afternoon. And then we had the event all day Saturday.
Weren't you all tired?
And then Saturday night, we did actually like a co-ed like a cocktail party at like a speakeasy.
Oh.
So it was
a lot of people bring their husbands, spouses?
Some people had spouses, or some people were local that were like, oh, I've been away. And this is like a fun way for me to like pull my spouse in for the evening. And so we did co-ed, speakeasy, cocktails, apps, whatever, completely different format. And some people went to both. Like some people who came in went to that, then went to the event, then came to mine.
That sounds tiring.
Right. And it's like, it was a completely different format. And so it just offered a different opportunity. So I actually ended up doing the same thing the following month for Weekend at the Pitch Club, Rebecca Caffiero's event. And I did a live podcast recording in the morning before any of the VIP stuff started. Cool. And it's just a really cool way competition to me is just such like a trivial thing. I don't even consider that is relevant.
Yeah.
So that's never my intention. And I don't think that it's a good mindset to be in anyways. So creating these things has been really fun, just a way to serve and create an opportunity for people to connect in a different capacity. I've already started the wait list for the August for Powerhouse again this year. And so many people who came last year are already reaching out wanting to attend.
That's so cool.
New people who had FOMO because they couldn't get in last year.
So you might need 2 on Friday.
Truly, we'll see.
Or higher ticket prices.
That is also possible. But I think for me, it's the intimate, more in-depth conversation that's just smaller. And that's like the big differentiator. It's not that one is better or worse. It's just different. And so it offers a different experience for people that already know, like, and trust this massive event that is tried and true and they come to every single year. Yeah. And they're like, ooh, this is a fun way to make it a little different this year. Mm-hmm. So it's been super fun and I'm excited. I really want to like take it on the road in like the reverse.
Table tour.
The traveling table. Yes. And I want to take it to like an event that I'm attending that's like in another state or country and do like pop up.
Cool.
Yeah. So TBD.
We'll have to put a list together of cool events around the country.
Yeah. That will be a tax write-off, obviously.
Obviously.
Right.
And if you want to throw a table event around Minted, go for it.
Perfect. I'm like, so glad we're having this conversation. By the way.
Yeah, you're like, actually, your tickets are available.
Link in bio.
How do you create experiences that are different every time?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I think it's never going to be 100% unique because there are some pieces that just deserve to be there always. So my whole thing really is being an example for people that connection and community in the business landscape does not have to feel solely transactional and can also be found in the most unsuspecting places. Whether you're moving your body, I did a wellness event last fall and it was like, we're doing mat Pilates and we're doing a HIIT class and we're doing cupping and chair massages and vitamin injections and still talking about the ways that we can help and serve each other in a completely like chill, low stress environment.
Yeah.
And we can also be in the full power suit and the glam and the bougie and still talk about the same thing.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it's listening to what it is that people are craving or actively seeking where there are gaps in the market and taking a chance on filling it and seeing what happens. So there's some elements that will always stay because they work and they're proven, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But then there's other things that it's fun to be a little mad scientist, type energy in the lab, trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. And I think you oftentimes find the things that resonate or like stand out to people the most are like unsuspecting. Mm-hmm. Like where you're like, oh, I knew that was a good idea, but I actually didn't know that it was like the thing that people were going to walk away with and love the absolute most. So I'm not like a human design guru by any means, but I do know I'm a manifesting generator.
Human design.
I do know I'm a manifesting generator. And from what I'm learning, I am just meant to create and be constantly evolving and trying new things. So that has been really fun and it doesn't feel hard. Mm-hmm. It feels like fun, like a science experiment.
So what's like your next big goal?
Ooh, that is a good question. I did officially book the dates for the Table Experience 2026.
Great.
So the first one didn't kill me. Praise.
I was worried for you for a second.
Small wins. Yeah, I did book the dates for the Table Experience 2026. And I think for me, figuring out what's next really comes from having more space to be able to dream and to be able to think. And it goes back to our conversation from the very beginning where I want to do all the things doesn't mean that I should be doing all the things. So I'm actually exercising saying no a little bit more to really create the time and space for me to be able to be in that white space to figure out what the next thing is. I'm also very aware that I'm in a season of life that requires a lot of me at home. My kids are young. They're very involved with extracurriculars. We're doing club sports now. We've got all
volleyball.
The things. Volleyball mom, yes. Involved with our church. And so there's like a lot of layers of just like moving pieces. And my husband travels a fair amount for work. But I am in almost exactly 1 month turning 40. And I am just like, this is going to be my best decade.
Can we go to dinner for your birthday?
Immediately, yes. I'm so excited. Somebody asked me the other day, they're like, are you feeling like in your feelings about turning 40? I'm like, first of all, shut your mouth.
Yeah.
I don't appreciate the tone. I actually am not. I'm super excited. I actually feel weirder thinking that like in less than a year and a half, I'm going to have a teenager.
Yeah.
That feels odd versus like, oh, I'm going to be 40. So I think just being willing to take more time and space for me without feeling selfish about it and whatever that looks like, if it's fun, if it's traveling, if it's going to new things, or if it's just simply sitting still and allowing myself to figure out what's next. That's what I'm excited about. And being in my hot mom era.
Yes. Fit and 40.
Fit and 40, baby. Let's go.
Where can everyone find you and get tickets for the table?
Yeah, I hang out mostly on the gram. So I'm over at the Haley Westfall. We also have a page for all of our events. So also on the gram, it's thetable.az. It will stay that way for now until the table expands beyond AZ, and then that may change. But for now, it's thetable.az. We do have a wait list running for the Table Experience 2026. So there's a whole landing page with some beautiful videos from our event.
What are the dates so I can put it on my calendar this time?
February 20th and 21st.
Okay.
2026. It'll be here in Arizona in Tempe. And I'm super, super excited for that. It's going to be incredible. The feedback we've gotten has been insane. And I'm just super, super pumped for the caliber of the room, the conversations, the willingness to just be open and receive was so great. So yeah, in my bio, there's a link for the waitlist, and there is some exclusive perks that will be going out to the waitlist exclusively. So add yourself.
Adding to cart immediately.
Yes, come send me a DM. I'm a voice note girly, so prepare yourself, but you're going to love it. It's going to be fine.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Life Changing Money. Don't forget to subscribe, and I would love if you left a review and shared it with your friends. See you next time.